I never thought I'd be writing these words, but here I am at 40 years old, married to my high school sweetheart for over 2 decades. And I'm grossed out by nearly everything my husband does. I know how that sounds. I know some of you are already judging me, thinking I'm shallow or ungrateful. Trust me, I've judged myself harder than anyone else could. But this is my truth, and maybe sharing it will help someone else who's going through the same thing feel less alone. My husband and I have been together since we were teenagers. We built what everyone would consider a successful life together. We're financially stable, we have a respectful relationship, he's an incredible father to our children, and he does his equal share around the house. He cooks, does laundry, handles parenting duties without complaint. On paper, he's everything a woman could want in a partner. So why do I find myself wanting to scream at the top of my lungs when he walks into a room? It started slowly, maybe 3 to 5 years ago. Little things that I used to find endearing or at least tolerable began to grate on my nerves like sandpaper. At first I thought it was just stress, or maybe I was going through some kind of hormonal change. I figured it would pass. It didn't pass. It got worse. Let me paint you a picture of what my daily life looks like now. I wake up each morning dreading the moment my husband opens his mouth because I know there's a 70% chance he's forgotten whatever conversation we had the day before. I find myself having to give him reminder receipts for everything we discuss like I'm his personal secretary rather than his wife. Remember when we talked about Emma's parent-teacher conference, I'll say? When was that? He'll respond, looking genuinely confused. Yesterday, at dinner. We discussed it for 15 minutes. The blank stare I get in return makes me want to put my fist through a wall. Then there's the snoring, but not the kind you're thinking of. He snores while he's awake. I'm not exaggerating. He makes this soft, unconscious snoring sound when he's concentrating, when he's tired, sometimes just when he's breathing normally. We've been to doctors. We've had him checked for sleep apnea, allergies, deviated septums. Everything comes back normal. It's just something he does now, apparently. The sound triggers something primal in me. Fight or flight. I hear it, and I want to flee the room immediately. And then there's his smell. God, I feel terrible even writing this, but his face and hair have this odor that I can only describe as concentrated body oils. It's not that he's dirty. He showers regularly, uses deodorant, brushes his teeth. But there's this underlying scent that's just him, and it makes me nauseous. I used to love his smell. I used to bury my face in his neck and breathe him in. Now I hold my breath when he hugs me. The bathroom situation is perhaps the most revolting. I'll walk into our ensuite to find boogers, actual boogers, stuck to the side of the sink. Skin flakes scattered around the basin like he's molting. I've talked to him about it countless times. He always apologizes, always promises to be more careful. But nothing changes. When he wants attention, which seems to be more and more frequently as he senses my withdrawal, he starts talking in this baby voice. "Honey bunny, do you have kisses for me?" He'll say in this high-pitched, infantile tone that makes my skin crawl. I know he's trying to be playful, trying to recapture some of the lightheartedness we used to share, but it has the opposite effect. It makes me want to run away from home. I could go on. The way he chooses food, the way he breathes through his mouth while watching TV, the way he leaves cabinet doors hanging open, the way he asks me the same questions multiple times in a single conversation. Each thing by itself is minor, but together, they've created this perfect storm of revulsion that I can't seem to escape. We've tried everything. We've been to couples counseling with Dr. Martinez, who's supposed to be one of the best in our area. We've had peaceful, honest conversations about what's happening. We've tried date nights and weekend getaways and all the things the internet suggests for rekindling romance. Nothing has worked. If anything, I feel worse, because I can't seem to fix whatever is broken inside me. My husband isn't a bad person. He's not abusive or neglectful or unfaithful. He works hard to provide for our family. He coaches our daughter's soccer team and helps our son with homework. He remembers my mother's birthday and always buys the exact brand of coffee I like. He's the same man I fell in love with all those years ago in AP English class. But I can't stand him. Do you know what that does to a person? The guilt is overwhelming. I lie awake at night, wondering what's wrong with me. Normal people don't want to vomit when their perfectly decent husband tries to kiss them goodnight. Normal people don't fantasize about separate bedrooms and solo vacations. Normal people don't feel trapped in their own marriage. Our kids are starting to notice. My 13-year-old daughter asked me last week if we were getting divorced. "You guys don't really talk anymore," she said, with the brutal honesty only teenagers can deliver. "And when you do talk, you seem mad." I'm not mad exactly. I'm disgusted, which somehow feels worse. Anger would be cleaner, easier to understand and address. This is something else entirely. A visceral rejection of the person I'm supposed to love most in the world. I've been to my own doctor. I've had my hormones checked, started taking vitamin D, increased my exercise routine. I've tried meditation and individual therapy. I've read every article and blog post about losing attraction to your spouse and how to rekindle romance in long-term relationships. I've considered antidepressants, though I don't feel depressed exactly, just trapped. Some days I wonder if this is just what long-term marriage looks like for some people. Maybe the honeymoon phase ends and this is what's left. Tolerance at best, revulsion at worst. Maybe all those couples who seem happy after decades together are just better at hiding it, or better at accepting it, but I can't accept it. I won't spend the next 40 years of my life feeling like this. Recently, I've started sleeping in our guest room. It wasn't a dramatic decision, no fight, no ultimatum. I just told my husband that I needed some space to think, and he agreed. That first night alone, I slept better than I had in months. I could breathe without smelling his particular scent. I could stretch out without feeling his body heat. I could exist without the constant low-level irritation that had become my default state. It's been 3 weeks now, and while I don't have answers yet, I have something I didn't have before. Hope. Space to think clearly. Room to remember who I am when I'm not constantly triggered by my husband's existence. I've started seeing a new therapist who specializes in what she calls relationship aversion. Apparently, what I'm experiencing isn't as uncommon as I thought. She's helping me understand that sometimes our brains just change. Sometimes the things that once attracted us to someone become the things that repel us. And it's not necessarily anyone's fault. I don't know how this story ends yet. I don't know if I can find my way back to loving my husband the way I used to, or if we'll end up as another divorce statistic. What I do know is that I can't keep living in denial, pretending everything is fine when it isn't. My husband deserves better than a wife who recoils from his touch. My children deserve better than parents who can barely stand to be in the same room together. And I deserve better than a life spent feeling disgusted by the person sharing my bed. So I'm doing the work. I'm going to therapy. I'm taking care of my physical and mental health. I'm trying to understand what's happening to me and why. I'm fighting for my marriage even if it means fighting against my own brain chemistry. Some of you might think I'm selfish for sharing this, for airing such private struggles. My husband knows I'm writing about our situation. We've talked about it extensively. He's as confused and hurt as I am, but he's also supportive of my need to find answers, even if it means admitting publicly that our marriage isn't perfect. Maybe that's what real love looks like. Not the fairy tale version where everything is always perfect, but the messy, complicated version where sometimes you have to fight for each other even when your own mind is working against you. I'm sharing this because I want other women and men who might be going through something similar to know they're not alone. You're not a bad person if you've lost attraction to your spouse. You're not shallow if little things have started to feel like big things. You're not broken if your brain has decided to reject someone you once loved completely. But you are responsible for doing something about it. For your sake, for their sake. For your children's sake. Whether that means therapy, medical intervention, temporary separation, or yes, even divorce. You owe it to everyone involved to stop pretending everything is fine when it isn't. I don't have all the answers yet. I'm still figuring out how to navigate this strange new reality where love and disgust exist in the same space. But I'm trying, and for now, that has to be enough. This is my truth. It's messy and uncomfortable, and not the story I thought I'd be telling at 40, but it's real, and maybe that's what matters most. If you're going through something similar, please know that you're not alone. Please know that it's okay to seek help, to take space, to prioritize your mental health, even when it feels selfish. Please know that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is admit that something is wrong and take steps to fix it, even when you don't know what the outcome will be. We all deserve to feel at peace in our own lives, in our own homes, in our own relationships. Sometimes that means making hard choices and having difficult conversations. Sometimes it means admitting that love isn't always enough, that sometimes you have to do the work. I'm doing the work now. I'm fighting for my marriage, my family, and myself. I don't know how this story ends, but I know I'm not giving up without trying everything. That's all any of us can do, really. Try everything, hope for the best, and remember that it's okay if the fairy tale doesn't look like what you expected. Sometimes the real story is messier, more complicated, and ultimately more human than anything we could have imagined. If this resonated with you, smash that like button and subscribe for more honest relationship content. Drop a comment. Have you experienced something similar?